Everybody, if you want to share your
1 minute
craziest Uber and Lyft story, real quick. So, Tim, if you want to start.
I had just started driving for Uber and Lyft, and I was in a small town called Oregon City, and it was about 11:30 at night, and a gentleman was living in a giant apartment complex across the street from a Plaid Pantry, it's similar to a 7-Eleven. Anyway, he goes, "It's a little hard to find my apartment, so meet me at the Plaid Pantry." Fine. So I go and park in the Plaid Pantry parking lot. A black sedan pulls up, and there's a gentleman in the back, two ladies in the front, and the gentleman gets out, looks directly at me. And so I thought, oh, this might be my guy. So I look back at him. He opens up the trunk of the sedan, begins to unload a bunch of stuff out of the back of the sedan. And so now I'm kind of looking a little bit closer to see if I have enough room in my car for his belongings. This guy takes it somehow as a personal affront, comes up to the side of my driver's side and starts challenging me. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? And I was like, "Are you so-and-so?" And I'm asking him if he's my Uber passenger. And he goes, "Does this look like so-and-so?" And he pointed a camouflage crossbow at me. And yeah, that was super fun. But the funniest part about this story was, even though I have a crossbow pointed straight at me, not 6 inches away, my very first thought in that situation was, am I covered for this? Like, I was thinking about my insurance policy. So that's the craziest I got.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, my story is pretty quick, but you know it's always bad when somebody's getting in your car late at night and their friends are like, "Are you going to be okay?" Because they're not. If they're already asking, they're already too sick. And I go about 2 blocks, and the young girl, she says, "I'm going to throw up." So we pull over, open the door, she throws up on the street. We start going again, and I can hear her rolling the windows down, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" I'm going to throw up, and she leans her head out the car and throws up down the side of my car. And I think we've all had that experience. The difference is, and Chris, you've probably experienced this. It was -10.
Oh my God.
It was a blizzard. And I was only about 4 rides away from hitting my Quest. And when vomit hits the side of your car, it freezes instantaneously. And about 1 o'clock in the morning, nothing's open. There's no way to wash your car off. You can't wipe it off. It's like rock solid chunks all the way down the side of my car. Blizzard.
Oh, man.
There you go.
The middle of winter is rough. If you got a 24-hour, here, I'll give you a tip though. One of the things, if you go to a gas station, doesn't matter if it's open or closed, you get some of that windshield wiper fluid stuff that they have out there. You wipe that right down, and you're good to go.
That's good. I should have known that. I should have known you earlier, Chris.
Oh, wow.
But yeah,
Adolphus, you gotta have a. What is your craziest story, Adolphus?
When I first started driving, I had this guy that called me up, and he's like, "Hey, Adolphus, you mind making a long run?" I'm like, "Sir, I'll take you to the moon if you got the money." He's like, "Okay." So when I picked him up, I looked at the GPS. It said 3 hours and 20 minutes. I was like, "Where is this guy going?" He's like going from San Diego to Santa Monica. And so I'm like, God. "I don't know what it is, sir, but we going." So I took him up there and dropped him off. And at the end of that ride ended up being $430 in 3 hours and 20 minutes. And that's back in the old days with the Uber Select. And so that was my first $500 day. And so I'm like, oh man, I love this business. I'm like convinced I'm not doing anything else. And so that's probably my craziest story.
How'd you get back though?
Hey, I turned the phone off and went back home and went to bed.
Okay. All right. How about you, Jeff?
Well, I don't get many crazy stories because I drive during the day, but this is one of the most unbelievable stories, and it's my 4th favorite ride out of 8,500. So I had a ride for a guy who ordered a ride for his mom. He was plowing snow in Boston. She was in the Charleston area in front of a pharmacy. I got out of the car. I didn't know who she was. I have him on the phone, on the speakerphone. She hears his voice and recognizes my son, and that's how I found her. She gets in the car. She's sitting next to me, and she put on an Academy Award performance for 20 minutes. She did a monologue. I hardly said a word, and that is very unusual. It's almost impossible in my car. And for 20 minutes, she entertained me. This was a woman about 54 years old. If you saw her, you never would have expected she would be funny. She was, I call it the devoted mom and lonely widow. She told me her life story. Her son, I'll give her her greatest hits. Her son is so handsome, he could have any woman he wants. When he was in high school, he dated 2 women. One of them jumped out of the second-story window for me to avoid me seeing her. I don't like the girl that he's seeing now. She's not good enough for him. She came to Thanksgiving, didn't bring anything, and didn't say thank you. She went. Then she says of her son, "My son, he was born on the 4th of July. He came in with a bang and out with a bang." I'm telling you, I sat there, I'm driving, I'm listening to her. She was unbelievable. And then she hit me halfway through the ride by telling me, her husband died, her oldest daughter died. I know the whole story. This was over 3 years ago.
You're definitely not getting paid enough.
Listen, she tells me
you're not getting paid enough.
She tells me that she has to find someone down here, or she has to go back to Massachusetts before she loses her. Well, the word she said, I couldn't believe she said it. Now, I couldn't believe she said it. Then she said it a second time, and to make sure that I understood what she was saying, she went through the whole thing again and said, "Before I lose my..."
Oh, Lord.
Oh, my.
Yeah, you're missing an eye. Yeah, we can. We can read that. This.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to read that.
I looked up the slang. I looked it up just the other day because I haven't felt comfortable actually saying that part to anyone. But in slang, it means voluptuousness and strong sexual appeal. If that's what she had, I did not know that. When I told my wife, she said, "You know what? She was flirting with you." I had absolutely no idea. I hadn't flirted with anyone in 35 years. So if that's flirting, it's news to me.
Oh, it was, yeah. But, hey, no happy ending for you, Jeff. How about you, Sean?
Well, for most shocking, most scariest moment, I would have to say it was driving the nicest 3 gay dudes I've ever met through Philadelphia during the George Floyd riots in Philly. But we kind of had that's a story for a different day. We kind of have a handshake agreement on this other issue that we talked on the phone earlier about. So about 2 weeks ago, I had a scheduled ride with Lyft. I showed up to the passenger's house. It was a little old lady who was expecting medical transportation to pick her up and take her to her hospital appointment. She was going under the knife. They, instead of giving her a hospital, she came out frail as can be. She was like, "Where's the wheelchair? Where's the wheel accessible van?" Of course, it's just me and my Kia. And there you are. You're put in this position. She was so frail she couldn't walk from her porch to my car. So I, out of the kindness of my heart and a great personal risk, I actually physically picked this woman up, carried her to my car, put her in my car, drove her to the hospital. At this point, the hospital people were not expecting her whatsoever. So then I had to go into the hospital, get a wheelchair for her, unload her, wheel her up to the front desk to check her in. And at that point, I was pretty PO'd. I explained, I'm just a Lyft driver. This is pathetic that you guys do this. Who's in charge of billing to do this exploitation? Their response was to ask me to wheel her to another desk to check her in, as if that's my job. So I did that. Again, I felt so bad for this lady. I moved the furniture, put the wheelchair there for that. Then I went back to the front desk, and of course, a for everyone who knows me for that, I mean, I'm a pretty chill guy. It takes a lot for me to blow my fuse. Let's just say there was a lot of F-bombs. There was a lot of cursing. Eventually, I was physically escorted out of the hospital by security.
No good deed goes unpunished. There you go. But the other thing is,
and
we didn't talk about this at all. Actually, Lyft is very famous, and Uber is doing this. Medical transport these days. I mean, shit, man. Don't put me in front of a hospital with a passenger who could die in my car. I mean, I'm not equipped to handle this stuff. You know what I mean? Just because as a corporate, head said at a hospital, oh, we're going to use Uber for medical transport now. I'm like, I don't know what kind of shit this person is in. I don't know if I'm going to get some disease. I'm like, I'm not equipped to do any of this for $10. So I'm like, hey, man, call an ambulance or something.
Not just that, Sergio. These people aren't doing this kind of stuff out of the goodness of their heart. This is something that they are sitting there scheduling these rides for their patients. And for most part, most hospitals do this. A lot of car dealerships in my area do this, and it's fine. This is just a super really bad situation with this one hospital chain in my area. And that these people are then taking whatever they paid Lyft and tying it to the patient's medical insurance. They're charging them, and who knows what they're charging them. Yep. So it goes exploitation of my time, the patient safety, the fact that now they're sitting there and who knows what scummy stuff they're doing with medical insurance. It's something that, and then I sat there and ended my day. I called Lyft support, and in typical fashion, they sat there and they just threw their hands up and they were just like, we have no control. We're sorry. Bop, bop, bop. And that was the end of it. I was like, what?
My advice to you, even if they're passed out drunk, do not touch your passenger at any cost.
Oh, yeah.
I know you felt bad for the lady to grab her and put her in your car or whatever. Bro, you have so much liability. It's not even funny.
I understand that.
Ever do it. Yeah.
No, I understand that.
Tony, how about you? You're a tough guy. I know. You gotta have some. You had the golf club thing, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's one of the craziest, weird, threatening stories. So I already talked about that, but the similar to, I had a Uber Select. I was doing one more trip as 2 a.m. and there was a snowstorm here in Denver. So everybody's stranded at the airport. No taxis. They can't even get out with that. So I was making good money that night. And I was like, all right, I'll do one more. And of course it's from the airport to Aspen, Colorado, which is 4.5 hours.
Oh my
But
God.
It was on Uber Select. And so I was I talked to the people that came in from New York. They'd been on the airplane for almost 20 hours. They're yeah, if you could just get us there, that'd be great. They bought me an energy drink and everything. So I drove them out there. $440 is what I made on that in 4.5 hours. And then I went to the park and ride and took a nap and drove home.
Yeah. Did you have enough juice in your Tesla? Was it in your Tesla?
Oh, this was before the pandemic. So yeah, I had my 3 Series BMW.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.